welcome everybody. My name is Shane Comley White, and you are with me at HSD Productions. And yes, you can see behind me, this side over here, Rocking at the Movies. And that is my other channel that I do have on YouTube. If you want to go and watch that, that's a fantastic little channel that I do movie reviews and all that kind of stuff. However, today's chat is a little bit more about the struggles of actually being a filmmaker, getting into the industry, seeing how it all works, and all the different challenges that you as a filmmaker can actually go through and how to overcome them. Well, in my experience at all, if I'm going to say that, because it's been a very, very challenging time. I got into the movie world by default. I didn't even think that I'd ever be part of the movie world. And if you go watch the channel, I've had interviews with amazing actors, and they have also heard the story multiple times. But I'm just trying to share it to those, just to give a little bit of insight as to what has been done and what is going to be happening very soon down the line, and also to hopefully inspire you if you're a new filmmaker or someone who has been dying to get into the industry for such a long time and just really wants to actually go ahead and do it. But like I say, hey, if I can do it, so can you. You know, the struggles of being a filmmaker is real. It's not a joke. But let me give you a little bit of my backstory. I am a martial artist. I've been studying for over 25 years. I've got my 5th Dan in my levels that I've in as well. I have a 3rd Dan sword instructor. I've got a bodyguarding background. I've got a whole ton of different other aspects to me that a lot of people don't really realize and know. When lockdown happened, there was a day that I would have to say turned my world upside down. It wasn't easy. It was one of the worst moments, having to sit down in our living room, watching the TV and hearing all the tragedies that are happening, but ultimately hearing the president of our country standing up to say, we are locked down. You can't work. You can't do anything else that you used to do. You have to stay at home, close the doors, protect yourselves, but also just kind of give up in everything. And that's what went through my mind. It's almost like, how do I deal with the fact that what I was building up over many, many years has now literally come down crashing to a zero state? There's absolutely nothing left of it anymore. So I scrambled as best as I could. I tried to do the whole online stuff. I tried to create a community and even a platform where I went into the garage in the complex that I was living in, closed off all the things, had lighting set up and whatever, using my cell phone to create all of these different training videos for all the different levels that I had in the training itself, in the hopes of trying to build up work and maybe an online community. But that didn't happen. I approached radio stations to try see if I could get some adverts going, which I couldn't afford because there's no money coming through, and it was just a struggle. Anyway, long story short, I landed a radio show where I was asked to do a syndicated radio show, and I came up with an idea of doing it about movies. And from then, it kind of flew over to starting to interview people. And the first person I ever interviewed was a lady named Stasnavi, and she's from, Russia, Thailand, all that kind of stuff. And she deals with movies over there, action movies. And lucky enough, she said yes. And that was my very, very, very first interview. I'm going to just say to you, it was one of the hardest things to do because I didn't even have the equipment. I didn't have microphones. Right now I'm using a lapel mic, which I've accumulated over quite a few years, got multiple different versions of them. But at that moment, I had my cell phone set up, which was my microphone itself. And I actually had the earpieces going directly under my shirt, covered with a beanie so it would be as clear as possible. And that's what I used. I didn't have anything else. And the whole challenge was, I need to do something because this interview could be fantastic or could be a complete which thankfully it was actually quite cool, and led on to more and more and more interviews. But again, I just made whatever I could work with whatever I had, and it worked. So the struggle was, what do I do? How do I do it? Where do I go from here? And it wasn't an easy thing at all. I'm not going to lie to you. It was a real challenge. From then, I added that into my radio show, and that kind of went around the country. Quite a few stations took it up, but the thing is, it wasn't earning money. I just realized that I need to actually do something else other than earn money, which I feel is more valuable. And that is build up credibility, build up a name, and also a little bit of trust, so that when people know you, they will actually want to work with you because of your reputation, or because of how hard you've worked, or because of your energy and your positiveness. And I'm going to say, complete honesty, it is extremely difficult to be positive, especially when there's no money coming through, especially when you're starting out from scratch. So in 2001, I don't know where I got this from. It must have been a lucky break, or a gift from God, or something else like that. But I received a WhatsApp message saying, we're looking for extras to be part of a movie. And the extras were meant to be people that die. That's all it is. But let me just backtrack a little bit, because I forgot to say, part of my interviews that I went through, they encouraged me to actually start up a stunt team because of my backstory, because of my training, because of all of that. But they were going to teach me the international way of doing stunts. And I had a lot of people mentoring me and giving me some advice on whatever should be done. And even to this day, I've got some fantastic Hollywood actors, might be old school actors, but Hollywood actors that are assisting and helping and pushing the idea of get better, get better, get better, keep going, keep going, keep going. And then there was this saying that I was introduced to from the radio station, the one down in Cape Town, and it was keep on keeping on. And I kind of had that as my little motto to push myself forward. So in other words, you just keep on doing it, no matter what it is. You just keep on keeping on. But anyway, going back to my very first production, petrified as anything, never knew what was going to actually happen. I went to a meeting with the director. His name is Patrick, and he then said to me, listen, he's looking for stunt people to do this. And I said, okay, cool. What I can do is this, 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 and this, and this, and this, and this. And I sold myself to him. And ultimately, I landed up kind of running the entire stunt production side of it, doing all the choreography of all the fight scenes. And intimidated like you cannot believe. Imposter syndrome was even bigger than my intimidation levels. I didn't actually think I could do it. I didn't think that I would be good enough. I didn't think I'd be worthy of doing something like that. But anyway, I ran into it, and I just did what I needed. I almost died on set. That's a story which I'm going to share maybe a later day. But the challenges were to do what you need to do and come up with the best solutions of how to pull it off in the shortest span of time with the right people, so that the director would be happy with you. And here's an example. We were busy filming this one scene. It was a night shoot. It was a very, very, very long day. And there was one scene that we needed to do in a corridor with two main actors, and then a couple extras and some supporting actors as well, that had to have a little bit of a fight scene as they were walking through this corridor, the main two actors. I distinctly remember the director saying at the beginning of the day, we've got this idea, we've got this fight, we need to do it. It's going to be incorporating these two people. Here's a script, or here's the sides. I take those, I sit down in the corner, completely overwhelmed, saying, what now? What must I do? I don't even know what I'm going to do. Read the sides, get a rough idea, go look at the space that they're looking at, and I go blank. Had no idea what to do. Now, I didn't have time to speak to the director because he's busy filming another scene in a different location in the same building. I didn't have time to work with the actors because they were being filmed in those different scenes in the different area in the same building. what happened next was the director has a break. He comes to me and goes, right, we're moving to the next scene. We've got 10 minutes. I said, 10 minutes for what? He goes, 10 minutes before we film. I said, oh crap. In my brain, I'm like, oh crap, this is not right. I don't know what to do. So I quickly took him aside and said, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what we can actually pull off. So come with me, have a look, and tell me what you want. So I actually picked his brain according to the idea of what he wanted. And then he went off. And then I roped in all the extras. And I had two other people to fill in as if they were the main actors. And he was one of the actors, by the way. He was an actor-director. And I jumped into this and created a fight scene in the span of 5 minutes. With that, he then came up with his DOP. They set up all the lighting. I showed him a brief example of what it was. He said, great, love it, let's go, let's train it. Luckily with him, what I am going to say was a little bit of a blessing in disguise was the fact that he liked multiple takes. And each of those multiple takes could be used as a rehearsal or an improvement kind of take on each fight scene. So we're able to actually get this fight scene going exceptionally well, get all the different angles that were needed, and everything that worked out pretty decently. And I'm still excited to have a look and see what that fight scene looks like. But it definitely worked. And again, a challenge was just do what you have to do because you've got no choice. And if you drop the ball at that particular time, you will be replaced. And I was so scared to ever have that discussion with the director or anyone else, the producer or anything else, to say you're not working well, so we're gonna have to replace you. So I made sure I did whatever I did. And that brings me back to the point where I almost died twice. Once was coming back from the same location. We had a couple nights at the same location, fully exhausted. I was so broken, tired, because I was up with the director the whole way through every single scene. While other people were lucky enough to go and rest and sleep, I was making sure that I was sticking by him and actually trying to get a vibe of what's going on and learning. I took the chance to learn from whatever I could. When it was time to go home, early hours of the morning, it was about a 45-minute drive on the highway, and the car has this hum. When you're driving on the freeway, it's got this hum that is monotonous, and it is calming and soothing. And if you've ever gone on a long trip when someone else is driving, put your head down on the side of the window, and it kind of makes you go to sleep. It kind of rocks you to sleep. I fell asleep while driving. It was not a good time for me, but luckily nothing happened. So I snapped out of it and worked out quite well. The other time that I almost died was not my fault. It was actually a bit of a communication thing. We at another location, I stepped in front of the team and I was giving a safety briefing, ironically, a safety briefing, but someone part of the factory that we were working at didn't actually get the information of where we were filming or didn't take note of the information and came streaming through these shutters, these big, thick plastic curtain shutters that you always see in almost like a factory or a slaughterhouse or something else like that. They separate pieces of plastic that hang in front of the doorway. And it was a forklift carrying a ton of sugar, one of those big, massive bags of sugar. And it was quite scary for everybody else because I couldn't see it happening because I had my back towards that window. And I was explaining about a whole bunch of other stuff that we needed to do. And all of a sudden I get hit by this ton of sugar. And it's quite ironic because I love my Coke and they say that sugar is going to kill you, but I proved it wrong. It actually didn't. So I'm quite happy about that part. But anyway, it's me diverting again. So all I remember seeing are the two forks here in line with my neck. And I could see them coming past me as I got hit by the massive big bag of sugar. It was quite scary. Not going to lie to you, it was very intimidating. I'm going to play a video just now and you'll see certain spaces of where we did do some training. It's a little bit of a show reel of mine from back then. It's an old one, and since then it's grown quite a bit. I've got so many different other things which I'll be sharing throughout the different days and times and everything else that goes with it. Um, excuse me. So from that moment, I knew that I had a calling to be part of the movies, not just to be the stunt person, but that was my that was my entry, and that was my unique trait that I had. So the idea that I'm going to throw out to you right now is find what is unique to you and use it. Make it work so that you can get in a different way. Don't only feel that you can only act, because I couldn't act and I was thrown into that, and I had to be an assassin fighting the director in a scene where I didn't even know what I was doing, because I created the fight scene. So that's all good. We had that fight scene wrapped, and that was fantastic, or polished. But I didn't know how to act. But luckily, I had a balaclava over my head, and I was able to kind of hide away, and I did what I had to do. But I realized that that's not where I want to go. So, but I needed to experience it. I needed to know what it takes to be an actor, so I could then guide or direct an actor to do what is needed for a scene at a later stage. Bottom line is, I went through the challenges to build myself first, to figure out what's going to work for me first, so that I can make it work for the movies or the next stage of life when it comes to the stunt training and whatever productions we do. Now, going to the major struggles of actually being a filmmaker, I would say, first and foremost, it's doing it by yourself. If you're doing it by yourself, it's really hard because you've got to rely on yourself to do everything. If you've got a team that can back you in certain ways, it's great. But I struggle with one thing, and that is trying to tell people what to do when I'm not actually 100% sure of how to do it myself. So, as a cameraman, I can't tell a cameraman what to do if I don't know how to do it, because it's kind of counterintuitive, where I would say I need this kind of scene or this angle, and the cameraman goes, "It's not possible." Then I go, now what? So I've learned how to actually do the basics of camera work. Got a camera, worked it out, doing a full feature movie, and I became the second camera, and eventually became the first camera on set. And the reason for that is because, first of all, I had no choice. Second of all, I needed to learn how to do it. So that is one of the barriers that I broke through, so I could figure out what to do. Then there was the sound. Same thing with sound. How do we get the best sound when you don't have the equipment? So either you record it on an iPad or a phone, or directly into the camera, where you can separate them at a later stage. What equipment do you have? What equipment can you borrow? What equipment can you invest in? And that's all the different things when it came to sound and lighting. And some of the lights that I've got here, unfortunately, for some reason, it's not a very nice color today, and I think it's because of the outside. It's the weather that's making it a little bit grayish. But at the same time, work with what you've got. You know, I've got my light. I've got one over here. You might see a shadow there. Cool. And I've got another one over here. You see a shadow there. Cool. And then I've got another one here in the front. You can see another shadow. I needed to learn all the different aspects of lighting. How many lights does it take to actually make you look not so flat? Do you want a light directly in front of you, or are you going to have the backlight that's going to be happening? What is the best way for you to learn all of those aspects? And then the worst part for me, oh, this was the hardest and still is the hardest, but I've learned tons, tons, and that's the editing process. What programs do you have? What programs can you get hold of? What give you the free options to start off with, and which ones do you need to buy at a later stage down the line? And I went through all of them to figure out everything. How to work with chroma key, which is green screen. At the moment, this is a green screen that I've got behind me. And how do you work with it? So luckily, the programs that I'm using now to do the streaming make it easy for you. They just put it in. You just need to work on the lighting, okay, to make sure that you don't look like you're flickering or whatever else it might be. But this is, you might see now, if I move it slightly, yep, there we go. It is a green screen. So work with what you've got. And then, oh, there we go. Our beautiful birds in South Africa. This is the hardest. And this is the thing that I challenged myself with. And because of that, I've kind of gone overboard. But I think it's definitely worth it, and it's definitely going to play a very big part in the future as well. Where do you start? Do you have a script? Do you have a project that you can do? Is it a short? Is it a full feature? Is it a little bit of a video that you can work with, or what do you have? And the way it worked for me was the previous actors that I worked with on that other show where I did all the stunts and became a stunt choreographer there. I approached them and I said, hey, listen, do you guys want to do something small? Do you mind? Would you like to be part of a passion project of mine? So I was working at a gym at the time, and they said yes. And I wrote a quick script in the matter of a day, and we created a 20-minute short film. Very basic, very simple. It is actually listed on this channel as well. It's called Cooperation Breakout. And we created a tiny little script with two people who were the main actors, and we had some supporting actors who were the security guards, and the whole idea was they were captured and they needed to escape. Cooperation Breakout. Simple. Challenges like you cannot believe, because you have input from the actors saying that the script could go this way because they didn't understand what you're trying to create at the time. Everyone wants the artistic input as well. Then you got to work out location. Budget, we had zero budget, absolutely no budget whatsoever. So borrowing people and their equipment to use. The microphone that I used for it was a lapel mic, which was absolutely atrocious because it was just too roomy. You just heard all the echoes, and being in a gym that we filmed it in was crazy, crazy, crazy noisy, even though we did it at night. But things happen for a reason, and I was roped in to become a dubbing director, and we were able to use the studio to do dubbing, and I did the voiceovers there. So we did all the ADR and redid all of the script over the actors' voices as well, and it was fantastic. They came in and did what they needed to do. So we got the best sound that we could possibly get for the project that we had, with the 000 funding that we've ever had as well. So I know I'm rambling, but I hope that you're interested in this. And if you are, I'm just going to ask you, please subscribe and like and share your input as well, because I think it's definitely going to work to show other people how you did it. What did you do? And as you can see, there's something rolling at the bottom. So that was actually perfect timing as well. Please enjoy it. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe to this, because I've got lots of content coming out, a lot of information that's going to be coming through. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, the next stage was still during the lockdown period. Like, what else can we do? How else do we do stuff? You know, are we going to be able to make this work or not? Is this going to be the last option that we've got or not? And I spoke to a friend who was a cameraman from Co-op, and he had a poem, and we decided, let's make it. He was humming and hawing. I've got the nature of, let's just do it. No matter what, jump on it and let's do. And if it takes forever, it takes forever. It doesn't matter. If it is a flop, it's a flop. At least we tried. So we did it. I think it was a day's shoot. 2 days. No, it was a complete full day. We filmed the entire short film in a full day. Luckily, there's no dialogue, so it was all good. And we actually had the poem that was written narrated by Eric Roberts, who is Julia Roberts' brother. He came on board and said, with pleasure, he'll definitely do it. It was a quick, simple thing. It was fantastic. We put it in, we sent it to a couple festivals, and yeah, we got all of the rails from those festivals that we sent to. So it was a great achievement. So that just sparked my next idea of what's going to be my next script. Since then, I've written 14 scripts. Now that's in the span of 2 years. 14 scripts. A lot of them need a lot of revision, a lot of fixing, a lot of touch-ups, but they are projects that are ready and willing to go as soon as we can actually get them started. But then something else kicks in. Another idea comes up, and can you do a full feature film? Do you have the equipment to do a full feature? The same problems as what you've been dealing with since day one are still there in day 2, day 3, day 4, year 1, year 2. But the biggest problem that we've ever faced, or I've ever faced, is budget. And my mindset is, if you don't have the budget, invest in the time. Put the time in, and things will start working out. And if you can actually start doing that, even if you don't have the budget itself, you will be able to move forward. You'll be able to create the next project. And that is what I spoke about previously. And that's the one project that we did, which is AA. Again, a zero budgeted movie. Everybody's volunteering to come on board. We are filming this over the span of a year and a half. And I'll explain that down the line, why we did that for such a long time. But it's actually worked out better. I've invested in certain things that I could when it came to it. So I took money out of my own bank and I built things like a prison cell. I had to because we needed it, but I had no choice. And I'll share some of those photos. But again, like I say, I ramble way too long, so I think this video might have to be continued. But before I do end it, I just want to show you a little bit of a show reel of what I've got. So I'm just going to push play here while this is actually going on. So you can see this is the one fight in the very first movie that I ever was in. This is the factory or the warehouse where I almost died by sugar. I had short hair by that stage, and since then I haven't actually cut it. So I haven't cut my hair since 2001. Again, another fight scene, little sequences from, obviously this is all behind the scenes kind of stuff as well. A fantastic time. Yet another one, working on the choreography here with a whole bunch of different karate guys, and that's the director in the middle. His name is Patrick. Sword fights. This one was a hectic day. It was a 15-hour scene because we had to do 9 different fights in one scene completed, ending off with a sword fight. Here is the passage I was telling you about. Not going to show you way too much of it in the video, like I said. And then I got other projects, and this one we roped in some of the people that were part of our team. New members joined our team because of this, and it was a chance. It was a great thing. Lots of fun, interesting concepts of what we were doing, and the whole idea is purely just to excuse me, purely just to show bits of the elements of what I was able to do at the time. Hard, not an easy thing to do, but again, I just pushed through and tried my best with every possible thing that we could possibly do. So ultimately, don't give up. I'm just going to say to you, do not give up. It's something that you should not do. And if you can actually do your best with whatever you've got, whatever resources you have at your disposal, use them. Use a cell phone, for goodness sakes, to make your first movie. Because there's a movie out there that had made the entire film, a full feature film, with cell phones. Can you believe it? In today's world, you don't need these massive cameras like you see the one here over here. You don't need those. Well, that's a projector. I do apologize, but you don't need those massive big cameras to pull off what you are looking for. You can do it. I'm doing it, like I say, but hey, I can do it, so can you, and that's in the title. So cool. Drop me your comments, like and subscribe. It would really help. I'm going to be sharing this on all my other channels. This was a dormant channel that I've had purely just for the HSD production side of stuff. I'm going to be uploading a lot more because I want to involve you in what we are doing, and so that we can even possibly do a collaboration down the line, maybe make a movie together. You never know. Cool, everybody. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it, and we'll see you guys soon. I'll upload the next one very soon.